What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a beer day with TK. It's a rainy Sunday afternoon in Findlay, Ohio, so I've taken refuge under the awning on the back porch. Today, we're going to talk about a beer from a brewery that is very near and dear to my heart. Like I said about Guinness the other day, Yuengling has a lot to do with my history, I guess, and I kind of like the brewery for a number of reasons. First of all, I'm from Pennsylvania. Um, when I left Philadelphia to go to college up in Kutztown in the mountains of PA, Yuengling was the first beer that I encountered. I can remember distinctly going into my first house party, and people would have 16-ounce bottles of Yuengling returnables. We used to call them pounders, and I remember taking the first one, and I thought it was interesting because it was the first 16-ounce bottle that I'd seen. The other thing that was kind of unique was the wear and tear on the bottles. Sometimes the labels weren't straight. You could see visible marks around the top and bottom of the bottle. I'm assuming it's where it's been through the machines multiple times to be cleaned and refilled. And it was also kind of unique in that they had a lot of imperfections in the bottles. During my few years at KU, I can recall more than one failing. I can distinctly remember sitting in a chair one time, picking up the beer bottle. The bottom of it kind of stayed on the chair's arm. Top of it came off, the bottle sheared in half and beer went everywhere. I also incurred my first beer-related injury from a returnable bottle of Yuengling. Twisted off the top, took a sip, and the inside of it was chipped really bad, I guess, from being recycled or reused. It cut my lip pretty significantly. That being said, I still kind of have an affinity for Yuengling as it holds a special place in my heart, I guess. Um, Back then, the only Yuenglings that you really found was Yuengling Lager, which is probably what they're best known for. Yuengling Premium, which is what I preferred, was more of a Pilsner type beer. They had a black and tan, and they also had a Lord Chesterfield's ale that you didn't see very much. Now, Yuengling is the oldest brewery that's been continually operated in North America. It's been in operation since 1829, which means that it survived some very difficult times in United States history, including Prohibition. During that era, they produced near beer, which was essentially beer that had about a 0.5% alcohol by volume, was at 0.5% ABV. And they also turned out ice cream and ice cream novelties, which is kind of cool. For those of you that are into sports, there's actually a set of baseball cards from the 20s, I believe. It was put out by Yuengling, and if you had enough of the cards, I believe you could turn them in and you could get some free ice cream. So during a very difficult time in U.S. history, they decided to stay working, keep their employees working, and moved away from beer into the production of other things, which I think is to be commended. Since then, they've grown exponentially. Like I said, I lived in Philly. It was only about an hour from Kutztown, and I'd never heard of Yuengling. When I came home from break after my first year of school, I tried to get Yuengling in bars or beer distributors, and people laughed at me. They'd never heard of it. And this was in the mid-90s. Later on, Yuengling exploded, so of course it's all over Philly. And a lot of the same places that laughed at me in the mid-90s have signs that say, proudly serving since 1972. You're all liars. I was there. You didn't have it and you made fun of me. That being said, it has grown quite a bit. And it's kind of strange that wherever I've moved, I found Yuengling has followed me somehow. So by the late 90s, early 2000s, I'd moved to Florida for a while. And was happy to see that Yuengling opened up a production facility in Tampa, I believe. So I was able to get Yuengling in Florida. Over the years, I moved back out to Ohio to go to law school. And initially, you couldn't get Yuengling in Ohio. You could only get it in PA. It's kind of bizarre. I could get it thousands of miles away in Florida, but not just over the border and into Ohio. So a lot of times, if friends were heading home to Pennsylvania, you'd ask them to bring something back for you. Hopefully, they'd come back with a case of Yuengling. You know, again, it's not the best beer in the world, but I think it was just something that was a small taste of home for me, so I enjoyed having a Yuengling, especially if you're somewhere where it's not really being sold. So the regional distribution of Yuengling used to be kind of an issue. Now they've grown, like I said, significantly. They're the largest U.S.-owned brewery, and I think the 6th or 7th production-wise. So while they're not directly competing with Bud Miller and Coors, all those folks, they're in the conversation. They're turning out a substantial amount of beer. Throughout the years, I know historically they put out a number of other beers. Some of them disappeared, some of them came back. Now you see a lot more seasonal varieties. So in recent years, I've seen the Bock beer put out, and also the Oktoberfest. Like I said, back in the day, I never would have seen this. I've only seen this pop up over the last few years. So let's give the Oktoberfest a test and see what we think of it. We have a twist off top, which is generally not a great sign. We'll see what happens. Color looks right. It's got the nice amber color. A little bit of a head. I mean, again, coloring looks okay. Not much of a smell. Yeah. Um, it's definitely on the more malty side, like a Marzen or Oktoberfest should be, but it tastes a bit watered down to me. I've already tested a few other Oktoberfest during this little project that I'm working on, and I think the Nordenhacht from North High is considerably better than this. Um, as would be a number of others. So what does it taste like? It tastes like you took a decent Oktoberfest and kind of made an Oktoberfest shandy out of it. Maybe it's a watered down version of Oktoberfest. Maybe this is done to meet the kind of needs of mass production so more people would like it. But I think it's there. It's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. Would I drink another one? Yeah, it would get a thumbs up in that regard, and that I would drink a second, or I'd drink the 6-pack eventually. But it's not something I'd go rushing back for. Again, Oktoberfest is one of my favorite styles. So maybe I just have higher expectations when it comes to a beer like this. But overall, Yuengling, it's a thumbs up. Not an enthusiastic thumbs up, but I would give it another shot. So if you can find it, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. With the distribution now for Yuengling, you may be able to find this all over the country. I'm not 100% sure, but if you've had it, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of the videos like this, hit subscribe so I know that you're interested, and you'll get a notification that the new videos are out. So thanks for your time. I hope you had a great afternoon, and Prost. It's still an Oktoberfest.